All right, it's week 17, the final week of the regular season. It's time for our best bets. We've had a tough second half of the year. We've now fallen below 500 on the picks for the first time since week 2. Now one game below 500, so need a good week this week to stack up some cash heading into the playoffs. Let's see if we can't get it done. 4 games I'm involved in this week. I'd like to go through them now quickly. Starting with the Detroit Lions traveling to Minnesota to face the Vikings. Minnesota a 3-point favorite on BETDAQ, and I like the Vikings to cover that number. Very well aware that Adrian Peterson has been ruled out of this game. Still think the Vikings are going to cover. You can't like the direction Detroit's been headed in over the last couple of months. They've lost 6 of their past 7. Their season was mercifully ended by the New York Giants last week, but still, this will be the first truly meaningless game Detroit has played all year. Minnesota's known they're going to miss the playoffs for quite a while now, but they've still played some of their best football over the last month. They've beaten Philadelphia, Chicago, and pulled out a tie on the road in Green Bay over the last month. So at home, I think the Vikings are going to have a little bit more motivation and want to than the low-character Detroit Lions. And remember, they did just fine without Adrian Peterson 2 weeks ago, scoring 48 points against the Philadelphia Eagles. Detroit doesn't have a very good defense either, and they have injuries in the secondary right now. I think Minnesota is going to win this game handily. I think they're a good bet as a 3-point favorite. Next one I'd like to talk about, the Green Bay Packers traveling to Chicago to face the Bears. Green Bay a 3-point favorite on BETDAQ. This a big game, of course. Winner take all. Winner wins the NFC North. Loser misses the playoffs. A lot of people are on the Packers here with the Aaron Rodgers news. Rodgers back in the lineup this week. And we just heard today that his favorite target, Randall Cobb, has been activated. He may play for the first time since October 13th. Despite all that, I think Chicago a good bet here as a 3-point home underdog. What a lot of people forget about this game is the Bears have a really good offense. They're third in the NFL in points scored, and the Packers have a really bad defense. I know the Bears have a bad defense too, and it seems like that's all anybody's talked about is, oh, Chicago's defense is so bad, and Aaron Rodgers is back now for the Packers, so what's going to happen with this Green Bay offense faces that Chicago defense? Well, I do think Green Bay is going to have success offensively here, but my question is what's going to happen on the other side of the ball when this third-ranked Chicago offense faces a Green Bay defense that has surrendered 21 points or more in 9 consecutive games and 36 or more in 3 of their last 4 games. This Green Bay defense not playing well and getting worse by the week. The Bears at home, again, a short underdog. I think they're a good bet in this situation. Look, I know Aaron Rodgers is going to be better than Matt Flynn, even if he is a little rusty, but I do expect Rodgers to be rusty. I mean, how can he not be after missing 7 weeks? And I don't think the Chicago offense is going to be rusty at all. I think they're going to bounce back from their bad performance in Philadelphia last week, and I like the Bears to win this game outright. Next game I'd like to talk about, the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Arizona to face the Cardinals. San Francisco a 1.5-point favorite on BETDAQ. Arizona, the hottest team in the NFL right now, and I like them to beat the Niners in this situation. Look, I know the Niners have dominated Arizona in recent years, including earlier this season when they pulled out a 12-point win in San Francisco, but the Cardinals are just different now, especially on offense. Early in the season, they were struggling on offense a bit. That is no longer the case. They've scored 27 points or more in 6 of their last 8 games. It really found a running game. With Andre Ellington and Rashard Mendenhall, that offense is now balanced. And the Arizona defense, just about as good as there is in the NFL. They're the best in the NFL against the run. The Cardinals lead the NFL in rushing defense. They're allowing only 84.5 rushing yards per game. And this San Francisco offense, as we know, is built around the power running game. The Niners do not throw the ball very well. 31st in the NFL in passing offense this season. We've seen a couple of times recently Colin Kaepernick's thrown for over 200 yards, and people have talked about that like it's some accomplishment. That goes to show you just how tough it's been for the San Francisco passing offense throughout most of the season. I think the Arizona defense is going to be able to suffocate the Niners in this game because I think they're going to be able to shut down, for the most part, Frank Gore and that San Francisco rushing attack and force Colin Kaepernick to beat them with his arm. I do not think Kaepernick is going to be able to do so. So I believe Arizona is going to beat the 49ers and miss the playoffs. Because as you know, the Cardinals need to win this game and they need New Orleans to lose to Tampa Bay to make the playoffs. And the Saints are a double-digit home favorite over the Bucs. I do not think they're going to lose that game. So I think Arizona beats San Francisco and becomes only the 3rd team in NFL history to win 11 games and miss the playoffs. Final game I'd like to talk about, the Sunday night game, the one everyone's going to be waiting on. Philadelphia going on the road to face the Dallas Cowboys. This a winner-take-all game, just like the Green Bay-Chicago game. Winner wins the NFC East. Loser misses the playoffs. Philadelphia a 7-point favorite on BETDAQ. I think the Cowboys a great value here as a 7-point home underdog. Listen, we all know the main reason for this number is the Tony Romo injury. Romo, of course, hurt his back last week against Washington. He will not play in this game or in the playoffs. But you know what? They're in pretty good hands, I think, with Kyle Orton as their backup quarterback. Orton has started 69 games in his career in the NFL, 35-34 in those 69 games, and he's never been surrounded by the type of talent that he's going to have at his disposal on Sunday. I'm talking about guys like Dez Bryant, Jason Witten, running back DeMarco Murray. Kyle Orton is set up to succeed in this situation, surrounded by great talent, playing at home, and facing a defense that not only ranks 30th in total yards allowed, but 30th in pass yards allowed. The Eagles very bad in the secondary, so Orton, I almost said Romo, Orton should be able to succeed in this game. I expect the Dallas offense to score plenty in this game. They're fourth in the NFL in points scored as it is, and I don't expect too much of a drop-off with Kyle Orton under center. Now, the Eagles should be able to score as well. We know their offense has been playing very well over the last several weeks, and Dallas does rank last in the NFL in yards allowed, but this Cowboy offense really shut down the Eagles back in Week 7, held them to only 3 points. I know these teams very different now, but I don't think we should totally disregard that result. Remember, Monty Kiffin, Dallas' defensive coordinator, he has more experience against this Chip Kelly offense than any defensive coordinator in the NFL because Kiffin coached at USC for the last several years, trying unsuccessfully to stop Chip Kelly's Oregon offense on a yearly basis. Well, Kiffin had a little bit better personnel at his disposal finally in Week 7, and he was able to shut down this Chip Kelly offense. Now, I know some injuries have hit the Dallas defense. Sean Lee, probably the most important player on that defense, is out. He will not be playing in this game. And I don't expect Dallas to shut down the Philadelphia offense in the same way they did back in Week 7. But I don't think the Eagles are going to just run up and down the field for 54 points like they did last week in Chicago, for instance. I think they're going to be kept under control in this game, meaning, say, 30 points or less. And I think the Cowboys, again, a good bet as a 7-point home underdog. I think Dallas has a good chance to win this game outright, but I think it's going to be very close, the type of game where 7 points might come in handy. There you have it. Those are my 4 best bets on this Week 17. I like Minnesota -3 against the Detroit Lions, Chicago +3 against Green Bay, Arizona +1.5 against San Francisco, and the Dallas Cowboys +7 against the Philadelphia Eagles. I wish you best of luck in whatever you decide to do this week, just so long as your interests don't conflict with my interests.